Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to the Motorsport Noob. In today's video we are going to be removing the air conditioning system from my Forester. Okay, so before I get into today's video I need to note off a couple of things first up. Firstly, this is not a tutorial. I am a complete noob. I have never done this before. So it's more a watch me make the mistakes and you learn not to do my mistakes. And also very, very, very important, this air conditioning system has been degassed by a professional. If you are removing your air conditioning system, you must take your car to a professional to degas the air conditioning system. But that has been done on my car, so we can pop the bonnet and start unscrewing things, I guess. Okay, so the bits that have to be removed, first off, this has to go because it's just in the way. This is just a belt cover, 2 bolts here and there. We'll remove that in a bit. Underneath it is this here. This is the air conditioning compressor. This is basically the thing that makes the whole system work, as I understand it. It's connected by a belt to the crank pulley, I think is what it's called. There's a pulley down there that runs off the crankshaft. Thankfully the air conditioning is the only, I guess, device that runs on that belt, meaning that we can just remove the belt, remove the air conditioning system, and it doesn't actually affect any other system. So this is thankfully a self-contained system. If it was power steering that we were removing, we'd be having a different conversation because, as I understand it, the alternator runs off the same belt as the power steering. So that's just a tidbit for those of you who didn't know. The other thing we're removing, obviously, compressor will go. All this piping up here will go. So this is low pressure line, as I understand it. There's a line down the back there, line here. And in front of the radiator here, there is a I guess another much smaller radiator for the air conditioning itself. So all that stuff's coming out today. As I said, I've never actually done this before, so this could be quite entertaining to watch. I have been told to be careful when I do open the system, as there may be some gas left over. The reason why that's a problem is that gas is toxic, so I'm going to be wearing a mask when I pop the system. And I guess, well, that's enough of me rambling about it. I guess I should just do it. Alright, moment of truth, I guess. I'm going to be cracking the nut on this line. If you were curious, these 2 bolts I removed here were 10 mils, but basically you just grab a socket and keep trying until you get it. I have my ridiculous breaker bar here. Ridiculous because it is massive. And we are now going to crack this nut. So that was not as eventful as I expected. However, I guess this is the bit where it comes out. Let's put some towels there, just in case any toxic material decides to drip all over my engine, which is also full of toxic oils, but anyway. Alright, moment of truth. Come on. Okay, that was incredibly uneventful. Alright, I guess I'll keep taking stuff off and we can keep moving, I guess. Alright, we've removed all of the piping now. So there's piping that normally goes across here, under there, and it's just very cluttered and messy. When race car, you don't want a mess in your engine bay. Just when I'm trying to work on a thing, I don't want to be worrying about a wire or a tube that doesn't need to be there. So it's already decluttered the engine bay just that little bit more. But the next step from here will be removing the compressor. And I want to try and get the radiator out down here, but I have not figured out how to do that yet. So I'm going to attack the air compressor. Looks like I'm going to have to loosen, definitely going to have to loosen alternator to loosen this belt to take it off briefly, because the air conditioning belt is sitting behind it. But looks straightforward. I should be able to just theoretically just pull it all off. But we'll have to give it a go, and hopefully it's as easy as the piping was. Okay, so we've hit a roadblock. It is becoming too difficult to remove things because unfortunately the radiator is in the way. So I'm determined to get the aircon system out, which means the radiator has to come out. So I'm going to go need to buy some coolant, because I'm going to have to drain this radiator and eventually refill it. But we'll do that and we will be back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have drained the radiator. As you can see, pipes hanging out everywhere. If you don't know how to drain the radiator on a Subaru or pretty much any car, it's pretty much the same. You've got a hose on up here that connects to the top of the radiator. You have a hose way down the bottom, which you won't be able to see because I don't have a hoist. You do not pull those hoses off straight away. And you'll see the B-roll footage of me screaming and crying because there's just this river of fluid coming out. What happens is there's a little plastic bolt down on the bottom of the radiator. You crack it loose a little bit slowly and let a little bit come out. Have a bucket ready and then crack the seal on the top and watch it explode everywhere. I haven't figured out a clean way to do that yet. But theoretically, I now should be able to disconnect unbolt the radiator and remove it. So I can get at the bolts for the compressor and things that I need to do. So let's get started on that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is a radiator removed. That is the easiest thing I've done all day. Well, the lifting out of the radiator. So we now have the air conditioning radiator exposed. And I will say it is a thumping big radiator. To be honest, it looks the same size as the engine coolant, but anyway, doesn't matter. This thing's got to come out anyway, so I'll do that and then I'll come back to these bolts, which was the entire reason for removing the radiator. Subarus are a difficult engine to work on. A very, very difficult engine to work on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We have removed the radiator and the air conditioning radiator. That is the old radiator down there. The air conditioning radiator down there. It's all removed. Super easy to take out, and that is the real radiator there. One that will be eventually replaced, but for the time being, I may or may not put it back in the car today. We'll see how we go. Depending on how far I want to go with this project today. I don't have a need to drive the car for a while, so maybe it can sit for a bit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have a air conditioning compressor removed. Now, unfortunately, I can't just throw this in the bin, and obviously recycling and whatever, but what I mean by that is the compressor is actually a part of this bracket. You don't realise it, but it's very, very much attached to the bracket. So the reason why that matters is if you look down in there, the alternator needs that bracket. So we're going to have to take the air conditioning compressor off its little housing here. And then once that's done, we can put the housing back in, attach the alternator to the housing, or bracket or whatever you want to call it. And then we will have a partially working car without air conditioning, but it will also need a radiator and fluid. So we'll have to come back to that after the fact. But let's get this taken apart and then we'll put it back in and then we'll do a bit of a debrief. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the engine bay part of the aircon removal. So all the piping's gone, the compressor's gone, the air conditioning radiator's gone on the front. What is still left is the what's called evaporator core. It sits in the cabin of the car. I've done a bit of research on it. And I'm going to try and get it out. But I may have to take the entire heater core out. And to do that is probably a little bit too much work for what I'm prepared to do right now. But I'm going to get in there, have a go, see if I can get it out, and if I can't, I'll leave it and just bung it off. And that will be it for the removal attempt. So let's try and remove the evaporator core. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am on my back trying to do one of the last steps to get the air conditioning out. I realised that there's actually an evaporator in here, and to remove it I have to remove the fan core. Okay, no problems. The problem is the hole that designed this decided to put the the nut over a bolt that's this long, and my socket wrench can only go this far. So I now have to get off my back, get out of the car, go and get a stupid socket that will fit over that bloody bolt, undo it, and then I can take out this thing and move on to the next thing. So dear Subaru engineer that did that, I hate you. I hate you so much. I really, really, really hate you. Okay, thank you. Okay, so rage fit over. I managed to get my 1/2 inch 10mm ratchet socket over it, but it's still a nightmare. I'm doing one pull, then letting it drop back, getting a click, and then pushing again. So I'm basically doing it one click at a time. So this could take me a while, but once this bolt comes out, that comes out, and I should have access to the air conditioning evaporator, I believe it's called, and I can rip that out, and then I officially don't have air conditioning. So I'm going to keep doing that. Well, I had a go at it, and I can't get it, so it's going to have to stay there. I'm going to have to bung it off, but that's fine. Let's put some coolant in the system and see if we can fire the car back up and get it running without the air conditioning system installed. Alright ladies and gentlemen, this will be the moment of truth. There is water in the radiator, some on the ground because it's spilled everywhere, some in the overflow bottle because I expect that the radiator, even though it's full, there's probably still more coolant that was lost, so hopefully it should pull back what it needs from the overflow bottle. I've connected the negative terminal, nothing's gone pop. The doors didn't freak out, so basic systems seem okay. So we're going to fire it up and see how we go. One last thing as well, the belt that controls the alternator and the power steering has been tightened to a decent level. So I don't know if it's tight enough or not, but I looked it up on the internet, and apparently it is tight enough according to the internet. So we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. My air conditioning system is officially removed from the Forester. Ignore the evaporator core, I will get it at a later date. It is bunged off for now in a fantastic taped up measure. It will not stay like that when I go doing motorsport, because that will immediately get red flagged by scrutiny. But for now it will do. It just has to stop aircon fluid from leaking all over the engine bay and out into the environment, which it will successfully do. So, what have I learned? I have learnt that I can change stuff on a car. I've learnt that I can remove an air conditioning system all on my own, unsupervised, without any help. Did have to go and research some stuff, you know. I don't know what I'm doing. I do have to research it, but I didn't have to phone a friend to bail me out of trouble. For the first time ever, most complex job I've ever done, did it unsupervised. I even removed the radiator in it. And the reason why that's a big deal, that radiator is a replacement radiator that I had put in 9 months ago because I was too scared to do it myself. So, you know, that's where I'm at. So, if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, please get subscribed. I will continue to release videos as I continue to work on the car. Again, the end game for this channel is this car will eventually be a rally car. We're not there yet. We will get there one day, probably in a couple of years, but I've started the channel at the start of that process, so that way you get to see everything I go through, the pain, the good things, the bad things, yeah. So, I'm very excited. I haven't broken my car. I have no check engine lights, I have no airbag lights, I have no weird issues. It turns on, the fans are working, just everything works. Obviously I haven't driven it yet. That is because I need to re-register the car. The registration has expired, so I'm not going to go driving it around without rego, because that would be illegal. So yeah, I'll get the car well, basically just have to pay the rego, so I'll do that, and then I'll test drive the car once that's done. But yes, thank you for watching, guys. I have enjoyed, hated, loved all of the emotions with this project. And I hope that this sort of raw, unedited content, well, minimally edited content, is something that you want to keep seeing. And if it is, please leave a comment. If you think there's things that I can do better in terms of the content, please let me know. If you have any tips, please leave them down below as a comment as well. Obviously, I'm a noob. I said that the entire way through. I do not know what I am doing. I cannot stress that enough. So if you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, please leave a comment, tell me what I did wrong, so other people can learn. Just don't be condescending when you're giving advice, please. You know, encourage people. We want people to get into motorsport, and to do that you have to be inclusive. You can't be a dick. So don't be a dick. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.